We have our ancestors with us. We're going to continue to dance with them. Dreaming them. Calling them. Seeing them. We are becoming what we were.
It is part of that Maya prophecies.
7 triangles of light.
Keep walking. You are the spirit of Unapu. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapu.
People who say that the gods made them from corn, they planned their lives according to the heavens. Well versed in astronomy, using a sophisticated mathematics, they calculated the movements of the night sky thousands of years into the past and thousands of years into the future. They knew that the universe moved in cycles. Their lives were ruled by the rhythms of the natural world, planting and harvesting, birth and death, just as the great tree of life emerges from the earth.
Always they're connected. Science and religion.
In dreams, we learn from the Maya gods when to plant and when to harvest, when to set the fire, and when to do the corn ceremony.
What we're digging up, what we're coming up with is part of our history. And the men that lived here are some of the greatest men we've ever had. And it's a fact that we're getting to know more and more and more about the life of these people.
They still maintain their customs. They still maintain their ways of organizing their societies. And it's very exciting to see how much of the ancient Maya way of life is still alive now.
Because American history does not begin in 1492 with Columbus. It begins in 200 BC with the first Maya king who wrote his name on a stone. What is happening now is the people who made these places, people like Yashpak or Bird Jaguar or Pakal, are getting back their voices. They are becoming real to us and speaking to the people of the 20th century about who built this place and why and what they felt and what they thought about the world. These are not anonymous people anymore.
You are the spirit of Unapu. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapu.
Oh, community.
Oh, Xiuhtezcatl, everybody.
Hello. Here we are once again, Sunday, LA Natives. And we got a very special guest today. But before we bring him on, just a quick little reminder of what this podcast is and what our intention is. Our intention is to unify all natives across Turtle Island in a good way, in a non-political way, in a way that recognizes beyond contracts imposed by colonial imposed systems. And when you have the bravery to speak truth to power, you know, I think that's a good example of where our future lies. And this individual that we're going to interview today, I have followed him for years because I thought it was a very impressive thing to do as a child, to go up there with a native name and speak truth to power. How it results in and resonates in the community, that'll be up to us. But honoring this brother and his great message is one of the highlights right now. I'm excited to meet this brother. And what do you think, Armando?
He's a dope hip hop artist.
Yeah. And on top of that, not only is he massively active in the future for our children, our future, or my children's children, but he is a very impressive, talented musician, and he's young. He's just starting. Like, he's just starting. That's so dope.
Yeah, he's very young, you know. I'm so grateful to be able to interview these next young artists that are coming with so much wisdom. Really appreciate that.
Like on another level. So yeah, man, I'm ready.
Well, I want to give everyone a quick update
Yo.
on what's going on. We have our merchandise up.
Oh, okay.
Our website's pretty much 100%.
Logo is a grand slam home run.
The logo was a grand slam.
Yeah, that looked cool.
We are on Facebook now.
Okay.
And most importantly, I just really appreciate all the engagement, right, Zero?
Yeah. I mean, there's an active crowd out there that wants to listen to us bring the family together, and bring talented artists like Xiuhtezcatl, that's coming up next, so it's really homage to the loyal followers that we have out there. So all of you guys who have subscribed to the website and who come to us on Sundays religiously, or maybe not even using that word, but consistently, we're here to bring you good quality music or feature somebody who has something to say about our past and where we are and where we're going. And it's not an easy thing to do when you're a survivor of genocide. So, now we have great warriors that come to us, and I think Xiuhtezcatl is one of those massively powerful warriors.
And we're going to go ahead and bring him in.
Oh, brother, how you doing?
Shelly, peace. Saludos a todos. Good evening, y'all.
Oh, well, welcome to LA Natives.
Thank you for having me. Grateful to be on the show.
Absolutely, brother. I mean, I've been following your life for quite a bit for a long time, ever since you did the speech in the UN, and talk truth to power. And I knew once I saw that, I go, this brother right here, he's gonna come with something more powerful, something very beautiful and deep and life changing. And then I heard the music, and then it really inspired me, my partner, and our family. And now it's just an honor to talk to you, brother. So, Mateo,
Of course. Lasso Comati, appreciate y'all, appreciate those kind words. And yeah, no, grateful to be here, connecting with the community, con la raza, with the fam.
Man, and your music has evolved, brother. Like from the first video that I got to see, one that's a pretty great artist. I won't mention him yet, but I mean, just to talk about the new project that's out, El Cielo's a banging song. Moments, man, that really Moments, the video, the visuals on Moments, and
we just dropped that joint. That was fire.
Man, you're on another level talented, because it takes a while to get to that level where you're, crafting lyrics so beautifully, and then it's matching and syncing up with the visual side of things. That's not independent artist, right? Because you're not on a label, right?
No, fully independent. Everything we do is for the people.
Absolutely, and the quality that comes out of it, it's nothing but big up. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, talk a little bit about your new project, man.
For sure. Absolutely. No, I'm grateful to be on the show tonight. And yeah, it's been beautiful to see how the journey has. We've come a long way, and I'm grateful for all the kind words and all the praise y'all have shared. Definitely a long journey and a lot of hustling, and I'm just grateful to be able to be in a position now as an artist where I can kind of build a creative team that I want to really bring other artists on board to help tell the stories visually, sonically. We recently just released a mixtape called Runway Tapes, and off that project, a handful of visuals, one for a song that we dropped. And it was the first single off the project called El Cielo. That piece, those visuals were, I think, incredibly important in like the evolution of my artistry. We got to work with a whole team of Mexica Chicano, Mexican relatives out here in Portland, actually. And so everybody was like very, very aligned and I think could relate to the story. Everybody who was putting energy into those visuals to the El Cielo music video was really aligned. And from there, a lot of the creatives and a lot of the visuals that aligned the whole project, the whole mixtape kind of followed that. So that piece specifically really speaks on family separation. And I think the summers particularly, there was a lot of unrest, and a lot of uprisings for social and racial justice, for liberation and sovereignty for our communities, for our Black kin, for Indigenous relatives. And one issue that I really saw continuing to rise to the surface was this idea of borders, right? These human-made borders. They have these damaging legacies, both in Mexica, Mexicano, Chicano, immigrant communities, but also indigenous communities and relatives who have traditional homelands on both sides of those borders. So El Cielo, more than a political anthem, really, it was just like it was a really intimate story into part of my experience, my family, what I've seen and witnessed, and how I've witnessed love really transcend human-made borders. And so we put that into the song, we put that into the visuals, we crafted this space, this almost this dreamscape, with these different sets that we were filming in. That was really beautiful. So I encourage folks to go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. And that kind of just really led into the whole project. It was a 7-track EP that kind of just landed really well for me to just get something out, even amidst the pandemic. Not all these songs are new, like I have 2-3 projects that I'm sitting on right now, waiting for the right moment to cultivate and get those visuals right and align everything to drop it in this coming year. But I'm excited and grateful to see how it has resonated with the community and the stories that it tells, because it's never just entertainment for me. And different people have said it, but like you can make art for profit, you can make art for the revolution. And I'm a believer in the latter, and not that we can't have fun with it, but I think art can be inherently loving and beautiful and empowering and revolutionary, and that's what we aim for.
And healing. Music
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think what Xiuhtezcatl does innately is heal, with that beautiful art. Talking about El Cielo real quick, one, I love the visuals. I thought it was like professionally made. Like you don't get those type of videos till you're like deep in the careers and you meet the right videographers and cinematographers. Those shots. But it's amazing that you're doing it. And what I noticed and what I appreciated about your music, especially that song, was your Spanish flow. Man, your Spanish flow is killer. It's like killer. It's like right on. It's well pronounced. It's man, and that song, it was dope, right? You went, English, Spanish, and that to me is like a revolutionary act in itself, because you're not negating the imposed conquest, but you're rising from it, right? Because you're implementing your indigenous, your indigeneity, right? And so I wanted to ask, can you break down your name for us, dude? That's a dope name. Yeah. I want to give you the honor to break that name out, because you're one of the lucky ones that got named, I'm sure, by your parents to follow this path, right? Like, here's your name. Absolutely. This is your shield. Yeah. You're going to go into the world, and your shield is going to be your name. Xiuhtezcatl. That's a powerful name, brother. Can you please, elaborate?
Yeah, no, I'm very blessed. I'm very, very grateful to have carried my name my entire life. And it's funny, I look back at different folks at different times and be like, yo, bro, no one can say your name. Like, as an artist, you got to change that. We can't market that. And it's so funny, because I think these titles, these monikers that the artists carry or the different people hold, there's not the same kind of like ceremonial connection. I think in American culture, or if you can call it a culture, in a lot of communities, there's not that same level of connection to our names. And again, like there are very few of us who are lucky enough to come up with families who are connected to the culture. A lot of us spend our whole lives looking for that, searching for Calpuli, for our community, for our homes. So I received my name, Xiuhtezcatl Donatiu, in the Black Hills, actually, in Paisapa, in South Dakota, when I was 6 weeks old, with a naming ceremony with my grandfather, and different Lakota elders as well that were present just to help pray for my family and for my journey. And it was, in our culture, one of the ways which we name children is by reading the Tonalamat, which is like a reading of the stars and of the sky, essentially, during the time and the day and the place that the child was born. And from that, the name is selected by the elders and presented to the parents. And then, so, the parents have like a couple options and pick one that they fit is good for my path and my journey. Xiuhtezcatl translates kind of rough, the translations from Nahuatl to Spanish and Nahuatl to English are always a little tricky, but basically like turquoise mirror, espejo de turquesa, symbolically like reflecting the reflection of the sky on the ocean. And and Tonatiuh, which is el Padre Sol, the sun. So a very, I think, important part of my artistry, of my story, of the lyrics that I write, of, is grounded in that name, and I talk about it in El Cielo as well, like, talking about how the elders gave me my name, like that's just like written into the story in that song even. So I'm glad you asked, but yeah, I'm grateful and I'm privileged and I'm humbled really to carry that name, and encouraged by other young folks doing the work to begin to take back different parts of our culture, whether it's the food, the naming, our ceremonies, our games, our traditional dances. Like there's so many different ways that people, and especially I think the younger generation, is reclaiming space, reclaiming political frameworks that exist actually outside of like the European idea of politics and are more communal and community centered. But anyway, so yeah, I'm grateful to hold that with me as an artist.
Well, I mean,
That was beautiful.
the name, the way it was given to you and how you carry it is very evident. And when you slow down life enough to see the simplicity of it, right? It's a very powerful name, but look at how much you've done so far. And from the studies that I've had in my, obviously in the Mexica culture and all native cultures, I just consider myself native, indigenous. That's it. I'm all of it at the same time. But in that sense, they used to talk about los niños abuelos, right? The young elders. And when time is crucial, that the abuelos will give us someone like that, right? And look at how young, how articulate you are, how unapologetic and gentle. That just shows the essence of Mexica ways, not connecting it directly, but just the teachings that were given to you, and how the Tonalama is now deeply, deeply rooted inside your heart. And so that message is very, very clear. What's your future, man? And what's going to be next in 2021? Other than, obviously, I know we have some projects that we haven't heard, but we're going to push this tape. We're gonna play on Zoom.
Yeah, I mean the whole performance is. We'll see. We're not going to be touring for a minute, so the whole Zoom performance is not quite my style. I haven't been inspired by that yet, but we definitely, speaking on just like the Spanish flow and the multilingual flow, one of my visions, in the next year or two is just to be a Nahuatlante, to do the work and put it in and study the language to be able to speak Nahuatl more fluently. And I grew up around it, and I'm like blessed to grow up with more than a lot of folks, because my pops and my grandfather, they learned it when they were coming up. But yeah, so I definitely want to reclaim that language and incorporate that into the art. But we have a handful of different projects coming up. I work with another artist named True from Limerick Park, from South Central LA, whose roots are in Belize, actually, our Mayan relatives to the south of Mexico. And we put out a project this year, right before the pandemic hit, titled Voice Runners. So we started this group actually called Voice Runners, and so we definitely have a project on the way that's going to be shared with the world. And I think our two identities, our two energies, our two flows and creative styles come together in such a powerful way. Him being both, a Black man from South Central and having those connections, those indigenous roots to Belize, to that community. I don't know, it's very beautiful to have that presence. And he taught me a lot about expressing and exploring identity through our music, and so the follow-up project to Voice Runners VR2 like that is going to be really significant this coming year. And low-key, like I've been just really in a space of learning and trying to just like humble myself. I think I spent a lot of my life people telling me I'm all these things and really, really believing in me and believing in my voice and all these different things. And I'm grateful for that. And at the same time, I feel like I just have so much that I'm still learning every day. And I think I've outgrown a lot of the spaces that I used to organize in and that I used to do community work in. And as you're saying, los niños abuelos, the young elders, the youth that carry this special wisdom, I don't think I'm actually unique in that. I think there are so many members of our generation, young indigenous leaders, young, non-indigenous youth too, who carry a really strong voice and a strong will to reshape the future. So I'm excited to kind of explore and potentially create and invest my energy into some new projects to really support indigenous voices, young indigenous youth, in sharing their truth, their art, their stories with the world, and really diving into what does this alternative world look like? We're talking about abolition, in a lot of organizing spaces right now. Well, what does that actually look like in practice for our communities, and what does that give us the opportunity to rebuild, to reimagine? And so the music weaves into that, into the larger vision. And I think at the end of the day, it's like, how do we just correct our relations with one another, with the planet, with all of our relatives, with all beings? And I think young people hold a really important key to that. So I'm definitely going to continue pushing the envelope. And I have some projects kind of under the ground that have been bubbling for a minute that I'm excited to do in that space. But just continuing the journey of learning, learning every day, reading more, studying more, sitting with elders, hopefully once the pandemic makes it safe for us to be able, once it's safer for us to travel. And I was really looking forward to spending some time in Mexico last year and wasn't able to make it down. But, as things continue to open up, hopefully in a good way, we'll be able to return to that, a more fluid lifestyle.
Well, I mean, absolutely. I know, because I know your early career. Your early career was more activism, and you did have talent in rapping. And now it just seems like, working with, high profile artists like Nako, will be like, make you go, wow, I can make a living off of this, and I can put all of my energy in what I love, which is sharing the message that was given to me from the elders, right? From the people that inspire you to want to make change. Because in your early career, because I really want to focus more on the music side of things, but in your early career, you were very passionate about that, and that's what made you so successful. Now, I can't wait till you apply that same focus and energy into art, because art is a blank canvas. It doesn't have a foundation, a book. It doesn't have any of that. It has to revolve around you and who who is teaching you this ethereal thing that you're doing, right? This inspiration that's invisible, that creeps into people's hearts and goes, oh, wow, I want to read about this, or this is who I am, right? You do that with music. So the new music that I've heard, like Moments, really encapsulate that without being so comparing on more on a humanitarian level, not specifically connected to indigenous. Like my artwork is specifically connected to philosophies, even the dark side of what we call our culture, right? Like confronting the truth, right? Understanding that colonial and religious institutions really disrupted our way to the best of their ability, but now we're back, and that's what I'm trying to explain with you and your music and your so,
absolutely. No, I think native indigenous youth are I think still in today's day and age, there's so many limitations that are placed onto indigenous people, onto our youth. I think a big part of this whole larger conversation now of decolonization is storytelling, and like, how are we reclaiming and space through the stories that we tell. And that's why I've been so grateful to work with different visual artists and different storytellers of different mediums to help flush that out and actually imagine new visions that we can share with the world of who we are, of how we express ourselves. Not even to further define ourselves, but to further like break down these misconceptions and these barriers by proudly standing in our power as creatives, as artists, as storytellers, as entrepreneurs, as visionaries, as community organizers, however it takes space. But yeah, I think as my music continued, you're very correct. The majority of my youth, of my younger years, maybe from like 10 years old until 17, I was hardcore, like just really in the organizing space, as a spokesperson, as traveling and speaking and in and out of the United Nations, in these different spaces, these different political spaces, these different legal spaces, suing the government. Like those works were important, and at the same time, it's been beautiful. The lockdown has given me an opportunity to be still and to start to think, okay, like what would happen if we invested our energy into the art and the music in the way that I've spent the majority of my life running around as a spokesperson, and really also thinking about like, what does the world need and what do these moments need? And I think both the pandemic and the movement for Black Lives, that whole uprising, the social justice uprising, the awakening in many ways that it took place in our culture and our community, it's giving us this opportunity to rethink how we engage and for me, as someone who has been presented to the world as a leader, It's like, how do you lead it in these times? And it's not always our part to play to be up front, you know. And I think my music gives me a beautiful opportunity to exist with the art form in front of people, not me as a brand or as just a voice or like a spokesperson or a speaker for my people necessarily, but just like as a creator and as an artist and someone who can contribute through my verses, through my vocals, through the songs that I craft, the projects, the visuals, and I really love the collaborative element of that, because you don't make albums alone. You don't make, you know, these projects by yourself. You don't bring these visuals to life by yourself. And so it's really humbling for me to continue to ask those questions and to invest more and more time, energy, life force, spirit into the art. And yeah, I just can't even wait for the world and for y'all to hear as how it continues to evolve and develop and grow.
Well, I mean, the key thing to an artist is to learn organization and to learn a focus and to learn certain boundaries. I know it took me years to do that. I mean, I've been playing music or producing music for 22 years, and I never reached the levels that you did. But I know what type of organizational skills it needs to take, and the fact that you have that already and you have a clear focus, like that's the thing that brings about your activism, is that it was focused, it was very clear. So when you can already do that and apply it to a song or a video or some sort of message, whatever you decide to do, it's gonna be very powerful. Xiuhtezcatl. I mean, it's like we're happy on LA Natives that you're an indigena youth that is really, really, really developing right in front of our eyes. So, you know, hopefully in the future, because I know Armando, we put together shows here in Los Angeles, you know, Armando and I, and our idea is to gather the powerful indigenous individuals and to come to the city that blasts everything out to the world. You know, Los Angeles alone, just growing up here, gives you some sort of a pass to walk around the world. And you know, coming from LA Natives, if we could share your music with our community, man, that's gonna be their blessing, because you are a very talented and wise and individual, brother.
Appreciate that.
When we're talking about the youth and stuff, you mind me asking what's your age?
Yeah, I turned 20 last year, so I'll be turning 21 in May.
Wow, that's crazy. For ourselves as well, you know, I'm a traditional birth worker and stuff, and I do believe that, you know, when we conceive our children and throughout the whole entire pregnancy and birth and stuff, you know, we already know what that baby's going to come with. And Totonalama is great to get that connection with, and ourselves too. We named all our children with their traditional names after they were born as well. So we also have 4 boys with traditional names, just like yourself. So it's beautiful to be that inspiration. And we also have a 20-year-old. So it's beautiful that you are that inspiration for that next generation.
Yeah, man, you could see that you put your heart and your focus, and look at how much you've achieved, bro. You started your career at 12, right? 12, 10 or 12. And now
something
you're
around there, yeah.
Yeah, like now you're like, back in the day when I was 13. It's like you had already done so much by that age. And it, like I said,
but that just shows your spirit has been here before. That's what I see.
Yeah, you're a true warrior, brother.
Yeah,
you know how to navigate. You do it with such poise. I remember seeing this little clip in the documentary that I was, you know, watching about you, and you're standing in front of that fire, and you have a fan, and you're holding that fan, and you could see your breath and how you're talking to the fire. It almost like the fire took you, right? And everybody else is witnessing this event that it's very intimate and sacred. And you took that ball and you went, oh, look, I could create other little songs that do the same thing for the masses of people, right? Because I know what it did for me just seeing that little clip, right? Going, wow, this brother humbled his whole entire self at a young age and connected with the force that he will never figure out, but he knows how to use it so well, right? Like an arrow, like gave you a bow and arrow and you just became like this master archer. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? It's like, it's incredible to see. I'm just excited to interview you, brother. I just want you to know that. I'm a big fan of you. A big fan of you, but more of who you are, a spirit man, a man that just came up and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do it with confidence. And there's going to be slippery slope and I'm going to have disappointment. But, you know, I'm sure that you
all of it.
All of it. at a young age.
All of it, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think it's been a good journey and so many different layers to it. And I think the beautiful thing about hip hop and hip hop as an art form, as a culture of its own, is that I think it gives us the opportunity to experience freedom in different ways. And I think art is a very unique space that we can tap into to tell our stories, to do our work, and whether it's the organizing, because I think this year I've been exploring lots of different avenues of organizing, of understanding political movements, understanding decolonial theory in these different ways, and reading these different authors, and I think it all applies to the art. And I think this ceremonial upbringing and the spiritual upbringing from my father, and kind of being raised in this traditional way, that funnels itself into the art. You feel me? So I guess what I'm trying to say is the music is a catalyst, for what is within us. And it's not that, the artist is one part of me and the activist is the other part. And, it's like it's the voice. It's like that sacred, projection of our spirit through how we speak. And I think we all have that in us in these different ways, whether it is expressing that through artistry or through midwifery, or helping mothers bring children into the world, or helping, relatives bring children into this world, as you were saying. So I think there's so many different ways that we can express that. And I'm humbled to have grown up in a community that is so supportive. And I think that's one thing that I've seen kind of watching different episodes of this podcast and looking at the work that y'all do too, is our journey to understanding our own indigeneity in itself is a process. It is not a journey that is linear or simple or as easy as taking some kind of test of our blood that tells us, what percentage makes us, from these cultures and these communities. Is deeper than all of that. And it's different for each and every one of us. And I think the nuances of these experiences as Indigenous people are what make the pain of where we come from and the beauty of where we come from such an incredible learning experience as we go through this. And there's no one real native or right way to be Indigenous or to express that. And I think I'm just really inspired by the Native youth, and creatives who are out there redefining and challenging and discovering themselves in their own ways. And I think in the Mexica community and talking about understanding LA as a guest on that land, as Chicano people, as people from, south of this imaginary border, or with family or with lineage south of this imaginary border, residing in Tongva land in LA. It's also a very particular kind of experience as Indigenous people. And I was talking to a friend of mine who was Lakota the other day, and I was chopping it up, and he was asking me all these questions. And I was just talking to him about, how I came up, my relationship as an Indigenous person who doesn't have a reservation, who doesn't have a community in that same way that many of our relatives up here have, but the ability to still interact with and connect with our kin and be held in ceremony if we follow protocol, if we come respectfully, if we ask permission. And it was just really beautiful to discuss that with other Indigenous youth who come from different backgrounds, but we have this common journey of discovery, of understanding. And through me, hip hop has been an opportunity for me to make that voice my own, and recently I just want to shout out MF Doom, who just recently was announced that he passed in October, who is one of the greatest lyricists and minds in hip hop, in my opinion. But you look at different artists that I think take this art form and transform it through their journey and through their experience. And I don't think that many Indigenous artists in general, in any genre, have had the opportunity yet to share their light with the world. And so this isn't even really just about me and my artwork. I'm hyped for a whole generation of Indigenous creatives in all different, avenues to rise up and to change storytelling and change, the ways in which we express ourselves through these different art forms as we continue to find our way on this journey of who we are, of being Indigenous, of being relatives to one another and to this earth. I'm looking forward to just continue to develop that and see how our whole generation really pushes the envelope in that way.
Well, I mean, the type of music you make and the type of songs that are created come from the survival of genocide. So they're going to be powerful, impactful, sad, sometimes even aggressive. I've worked with people that are very angry about that situation, You know, we you know, and growing up in Los Angeles, we're like a multimedia capital, so we got access to a lot of things very early on in our study and implementing it into our music. Like in 1999, we were already studying about like the Illuminati and all these secret societies and stuff like that. You know, and then LA came in with then in 94 we got indigenous, because, you know, the rise up of the Zapatistas, and so all this developed here in somewhat of a scene. And so you go to ceremony and you try to apply that, and we kind of stumble a little bit because we don't have a reservation, nor do we have proof that we are connected to this mystical place that has been erased supposedly by this conqueror that came from Europe, right? So the songs are dynamic in that way. They create this mysticism of, or they create these feelings inside people. You know, again, I'll reference, you know, I'm sure he's probably one of the persons that you liked working with is Nako, man. When I heard his first music, when we saw him in Santa Monica before he released Aloha and became a phenomenon, I mean, that I'm sure that experience, and now you get to tailor it and go, now I get to tell my story of it. How do I feel about this connection, and how can I reconnect to the earth when everyone told me in these books that this civilization is gone and past and dead, and you know what I mean? Like,
and I want to chime in. You know, you know, shouting out MF Doom, like you being 20 years old, bro. Like, you know, if you step into my shoes, I run a website called Underground Hip Hop Blog, and man, I don't know much 20-year-olds that could reference MF Doom right now.
Well, see, that's the.
Can you tell me the story of how I found out? My 20-year-old was the reason how I found out. He was in the shower and he just starts yelling and he's all, Mom, MF Doom passed away. And he's
I was so devastated.
Right.
And you guys are 20, you know, so I think we got to give it up to us as parents that are continuing our children, these dope ass, you know, hip hop MCs at such a young early age.
That underground influence is what you have. So I want to ask you, like, throughout your journey of making music and making, you know, hip hop, when did you start incorporating your indigenous Mexica, you know, substance and subject matter, or was it just right off the cuff, off your first mixtape or off your first project?
Yeah, I mean, I've been writing songs for a minute, and you look back at all the old stuff that I've written and put out, and I think the subject matter, you know, has always very much been like a unfiltered reflection of my reality, of my space. And one thing that's really interesting about, you know, songs and the songs that we carry, like I was really introduced to music through ceremony at first, you know, really like the first time, and learning a lot of stories as a little kid, that the songs that were passed on in the households are what helped us survive, you know, genocide and continue to carry on our culture. And so I think it always positioned itself as a very important responsibility as a songwriter, somebody who created this music. But yeah, the subject matter, you know, incorporating those parts of my identity from the jump, I would say, basically. And I think it's until recently that I've been really challenging myself to expand my understanding of just expand the creativity of how we present those stories and how we present that subject matter, right? Because, you know, 50 indigenous rappers can get on a song and, like, you know, tell stories that are maybe parallel to one another. And at the same time, like I listen to some music out there and from different indigenous artists, and I'm like, I know that we can go deeper, you know, than the story that I hear told a lot, like in these records. And so I'm not to throw shade at anybody, like that's what I'm saying, like this whole process of being an artist is a journey, absolutely. So I'm definitely, I think El Cielo, and I think, you know, connecting that identity of being indigenous and being an immigrant and being the son of the family of immigrants, right, of people who have suffered from family separation because of this human-made border, you know, that subject matter, and telling the story through that lens, not even from a political perspective, but from just like this human relational perspective, I think was an important part of continuing to develop that. And as you were saying, Zero, like just the range of emotions of being an indigenous person when talking about and expressing and exploring our situation or our experiences are so vast. You know, rage anger, love, pain, resilience, and it goes deeper than that. And there's, so I don't know. Yeah, I think that, and just we were mentioning, you know, MF Doom and being also kind of a product of underground hip hop too. Like, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be a student.
He wasn't even famous until he did that thing with Danger Mouse, like in terms of the mainstream, you know what I mean? Where everybody's like, you know, you had to know about Doom. You know, you had to know about Madlib and Quasimodo and, you know, the projects that he did with, you know, these amazing producers that come from Los Angeles. And, you know, that's hopefully the thing that happens with you, is that you just really dig deep into your art. Because as you could see, art, I mean, Doom has been doing it for what, 40?
He was part of KMD.
Yeah, I mean, he goes way back to the 80s, right? Like it's 80s. And then, you know, it didn't get to kids who thought it was cool to wear that kind of mask. And, you know, and then what I loved about Doom was that he would send other people out and not do a show. And he was very controversial in that way.
Well, the story behind the mask is when his brother died, when he was part of that group in the commercial lane, you know, they treated him like crap. You know, the mainstream, you know, executives.
Yeah.
So he basically, you know, went with the mask as a statement.
Yeah.
Against the machine, you know, going against the grain, and it worked out in his favor. And he's an iconic hip hop figure, man.
Forever.
And for the underground hip hop community, he's like top notch, right?
100%. And he was able to shape, I think, all of hip hop culture throughout his lifetime in ways without having to be like a chart-topping pop artist. And I think because his music and because the ways in which he expressed himself and told stories and his lyricism, his creativity, his ingenuity, his mystique, all these different things. You know, I was talking to a friend the other day, like just chopping it up about his passing. And we're like, when you found out about MF Doom, you feel like you found out about like a secret, like a hidden secret, a gem, right? That other people, you know, not a lot of people know about. And he was both like a superhero and an artist. You know, it was like both of these things, especially because when we were younger, we would see them and be like, bro, what is going on?
Doom was so creative. I love his beats because when his production, he uses cartoon samples. He uses, you know, I told my 20-year-old, you know, he used to watch Cartoon Network, and they used to always pass this commercial, and it was Doom's beat. And my son was only like 7 or 6. And so he's, you know, yelling to his mom. He's like, mom, so-and-so died. And I go, Olin, you used to listen to him. He's like, really? How old was I? And I was like, well, you used to watch Cartoon Network. So every time he saw the commercial, it was his beat. And he's like, oh, that's great. So he had a lot of cartoon influence, and he had some mystique and that comic book feel. And it's cool that you have that knowledge, because I know you're going to apply it to your future, right? Because we take from these great individuals and we try to apply it in our own way. You know, how you know, whatever. I mean, when I saw the mask, Armando, I was like, how can I make a mask? How can I do one? It's like, I am so
yes.
In the hip hop game, how I see it, you know, you can't really hate on a guy when you don't know how he looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's another good gimmick right there. You know?
Well, he was old. He was an older cat, right? Like, I mean, he was in the 80s. He was already, so. I mean, age was you know, the industry couldn't at that time will judge you and do all that. But that's the beauty about the platform that we're on now, and how you can release this new mixtape. I'm sorry, it slipped my mind, but what's the name of the mixtape, brother?
Runaway Tapes.
There you go, Runaway Tapes.
Runaway.
And Moments, man, that shit was on repeat on my thing, dude. I really that song. Moments was dope. Cielo was dope on Spanish Flow. I mean, you got so much talent, brother, and I'm sure you got about 50,000 songs ready to be released and worked on, and
so many songs.
Yeah, I mean that.
Yeah, I'm hype on it.
Your process. What's your process like? What do you do? Do you have to be in studio? Do you just kind of take moments? Do you walk around? What's your process? How do you get to this place of the message?
I used to think that I would write better when I was in transit, when I was like going from place to place on an airplane, and then I just slowing down and not traveling everywhere. I realized like, nah, that's really just like the only time I had was, you know, so it's not even that I wrote better or that I was a more talented lyricist or more creative when I was in motion or between places, but that's just like when I had space to breathe and to do creative stuff. And now that I've, been at home, like in my little home studio cooking, the process is just continue to grow and evolve. And I'm really grateful that I've been in LA actually in October, end of October, beginning of November, for like 3 weeks, and just did a bunch of sessions with different producers.
Nice. So you're coming
and just there's just different producers that I've connected with in LA that it's been really, really fire to be able to get in the space with different creative folks. I mean, I love producers who have like that south of the border influence type, and exploring and messing with that more. So recently, like that kind of creative process has been exciting for me.
Who is producing from LA? Who can you mention them or?
Yeah, I'm working with a handful of folks. I mean, my boy True from South Central, we got in the studio and we did like we walked out with like 9 new demos for a follow-up project to the Voice Winners album that we dropped this year. And there's one producer named Sweet Sound who has his own project, and he's really fire. He's from Texas, his family's from Mexico. He's worked on a bunch of like reggaeton stuff and trap stuff, and just has he plays and sings. And so to get in the studio with somebody else and write with them and sit with them and like co-create, I'm all about that, because like I used to make a bunch of beats when I was like 12 and stuff, and haven't
now
done
you make beats
production.
Wow.
Yeah, like 12, 13, 14, like I was making a bunch of beats, and so now I can go back in and I still have an ear for it. So to be with other creatives who are like open to working together, and like I'm there and I'm sampling and I'm adding keys to different pieces, and I'm like, what if we switch that, what if we reverse that, trumpet sample, or like whatever it is, so it's been cool. I like those kind of spaces that it's like a little bit of a free flow.
Do you know the language though? You have to know the language to
absolutely
be able to do that. And I guess that's what I used to do too. I mean, when I produced all the records for El Vuh, I just had to learn the language of how to talk to an engineer, what the process of
100%.
like how to chop a sample. But I'm like traditionally, like I take the production of like Rick Rubin's. I don't really like if I made the beat doesn't mean that I produced it. Producing it is like making a song from the beginning to the end, which has its little intro and it has its little whatever, samples in terms of what you're trying to convey to the community. But it's exciting to hear your process because like, you're all flying out to LA and, dropping 9 tracks in one day. I mean,
yeah, it's crazy. And I think the writing comes with the sound, like as you cultivate the sound, the production, the beat, the feel, like that is what for me pulls the lyrics out and it pulls the story out for me. And I think because before I was even writing music, I was playing keys. I was playing piano like as a little kid, like 7 years old, started learning the keys and started understanding rhythm and melody, and from there started making beats and flowing and poetry and kind of putting that into this like hip hop context. And so I'm all about like having the production be developed and that kind of like pulling the music out of it. So
absolutely, brother. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think people should hear your poetry, man. Do you mind doing like some sort of style, some verse that you got for our community? Is that too much on the spot? It's cool if you say no, because I don't want to be like pressuring, but you know how we are. I mean, we're trying to share poetry. We're trying to have our community really get a sense of who you are. You know what I mean? What do you think?
Absolutely.
About it.
Absolutely.
Did I throw a curveball at you? Did I throw a curveball at you, Xiu?
No, I was wondering. I was like, is this gonna be the vibe? Where they're gonna ask me to do a verse.
It's cool. Come on, bro. Don't worry.
No. I'm down. I'm just trying to.
All good.
I got one. I got a couple. No, for real. No, I'm hyped. I love this. This is that hip hop shit.
What make it better? I'll share one too. You share one, I'll share one, we'll both share one. There you go.
Let's get it.
We put ourselves on the
All right. As the host, are you down to start? Are you down to go first?
You want me to go?
While this dryer finishes going crazy. Dale.
Now I feel
live, everybody.
Now I feel your energy. Like my heart's all pumping. But here we go. I sit and meditate and give thanks and praises to what Ometeo creates. As the gods test my faith, we keep closer to the date, the great change. I know it sounds strange, but everything will change. The seeds of the ancients has started to bloom, erasing the past and the ways of doom. This is prophecy, no longer a mystery, a new world history foretold by my ancestry. Ancient mystics guide my footsteps, prepare me for what's next. This road is long, but the ancient songs keep me strong. Walking along this red road, and the warmth of the sun shields me from the cold, the wind in my face and the earth at my feet. In the center of the circle where all directions meet, re-entering the womb of Tonantzin, awakening my genetic memory, immerse myself in ancient ceremonies.
Joey,
Oh my God.
that's fire.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, bro.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, let me get this. See, all summer I've been in writing mode. I've been straight up in writing mode and in the studio, so like half these verses I don't have memorized yet, but
look, brother, whatever you share is amazing and powerful. You are a great artist.
Thank you, bro.
It's one of our leaders. Then I'm sorry to do this live, but this is what we do, right? I'm gonna put
No, this is what we do. No, bro, this is hip hop. This is hip hop. Gente de la tierra, gente de revolución siempre en mis venas, gente de ríos que fluyen que no nos espera, mi gente más fuerte que calor en la frontera, buscando bajo el agua hasta que encuentro estrellas. Le canto al cielo mi reflejo, lo que sea. Hijo de mi pueblo, está bien lejos, me espera. Y aprendimos fuego, ahora mira cómo vuelo. Todo lo que tengo es más que el dinero. No trae luz, no me cura nada. Tan profundo el mundo abajo. Yo espero que tú te escapes. Me dijeron que no pierdas en lo que pasa. When people with their hands up, you can show yourself out if you came to see something average. How's that one go?
Got it.
You got
Go with the hands up. You can show yourself out if you came to see something average. We came as a family, fucking industry standard. I'd rather drown together than leave my fam behind. Without them, I wouldn't have shit. I hope you can feel the magic. I'm living life grounded, steady, finding the balance. Raised by warriors, ready for any challenge. You hype on the small smells. We were born to ride mavericks. This is the turning of the tides. There I was, 6 years old, my eyes wide open. I saw the storm city swallowed up by the ocean. Humanity messed up. Look at the world broken. I want to see the borders open. I wrote this music, it was something I found hope in. My generation finally seeing the web woven. Everything is connected. My generation was chosen to guide the way to the light. You see, this is our movement. We walk on roads paved by every great leader of every revolution. We doing it our way. The power of the people is more powerful than people in power. I believe that this will be our finest hour.
Oh my damn, brother. Yo, another level.
Sound effects, yes.
Spanish flow is just killer, bro. Like, I love that. I'm excited for the Spanish word.
Straight to the heart. That was some beautiful heart medicine.
Thank you for sharing, bro. I know I put you on the spot. I know I do.
We good. That's how we do it.
He came back with fire.
Dude, he came back with he blew me away. Like another level. This brother, I was so excited for our community to really, really get to know you, Xiuhtezcatl. Because I know how powerful you are. And I know your intention is pure. Because you know that when we make a connection with that juego, with that tatahuare, that the intention is pure. It has to be pure. If it won't reach its level, if it's not pure and beautiful and with the intention of the next 7 generations that we're trying to cultivate here in a good way, not with hatred, but with a firm foot in the soil. Just like the danzantes they taught you, their feet are firmly on the soil when they do those danzas. When they connect to Tonantzin and they're following the huehue. I see that when I hear your music, brother. I see that. I just right now in your verse, I saw that spirit dancing right here in front of our altar. I had my eyes closed. My head was bobbing. I'm really proud of you, brother. I'm proud of being the hip hop indigenous community with you. And I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come on LA Natives and spend some time with us, brother.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all for the time. It was a pleasure.
So, what do we have to look forward to in in this new year coming up.
Definitely.
Is there
Yeah,
a release
we
coming soon?
just
Is there a release
yeah
coming soon?
we soon. Yeah, I would say we'll probably get something out. We'll probably have a project out by like the end of spring. We'll have something out by the end of spring, and we just dropped the visuals for the last track of the project, Moments. So if you haven't peeped those visuals, definitely go check that out. You can follow me at Xiuhtezcatl, Xiuhtezcatl. I'm sure it'll be in the show notes and all that. But yeah, we just dropped a music video. We definitely got. I'm gonna be in LA again, probably end of this month, incubating, creating, finishing some stuff up. But yeah, I'm definitely excited, and we have several projects, albums, visuals coming out next year. I think end of spring we'll definitely see something. So excited to be back on the show at some point as well. So again, thank y'all for taking the time.
So
Absolutely.
So
Just ask some
let's ask some questions from the fans. We have one right here on the screen. Ask him what he thinks about geoengineering, aka weather modifications. Question mark.
Wow, they hit you with the big one. Geoengineering.
It was nice and sunny today in Portland. I appreciated that. I ain't too read up on that topic personally, but
Is there anybody else?
I'm open to listen. Bay Area.
Well, you know what? I wanted to tell
Right
Armando.
here, right here. Are you coming back to the Bay Area soon?
Yeah, my heart wants to be there and live there. At some point in my life, I'm gonna live in the Bay Area for sure. The last show we did right before lockdown was in the Bay on the 29th. It was the album release show for the Voice Owners Project. And so I am really excited. That's going to be one of the first places we play a show once things open up again. I have some other artists out there that I want to record with, all depending on this whole pandemic, John. So we'll see what goes down with that. But yes, we'd love to return to the Bay Area.
Well, Armando, I wanted to see, like, you're coming back. You're going to come back to Los Angeles soon, man. You got to get him on the mic sesh, bro.
Yes, for sure.
Underground
For
hip-hop,
sure.
bro.
Let's be in touch.
Anyway, the next time you're in LA, we keep it safe. You just come into our studio, drop a dope, mic session that we do. We've worked with some of the best independent underground hip hop names you could think of, brother.
Trippy Red.
Let's get it.
My last show, I hosted 2 back-to-back Griselda Records events. We sold both of those out. They're quite possibly some of the biggest hip hop groups right now.
Right.
Let's go.
And,
I love that.
And Canadian hip hop, I got my homie Dax killing it out there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm a huge Swollen Members fan. I don't know if you know about Swollen Members and Mad Child out there from Canada, but
not yet.
I love Canadian hip hop.
Nice. Yeah. I remember touring with El Vuh. So
Talking about artists, we have a live chat question. What are your top 5 hip hop artists?
Yeah, who do you listen to?
Okay, just off top, I would say Lauryn Hill, Kendrick Lamar. I've really been liking Duckworth. I think Smino's tight, and KRS-One.
Nice.
That's a fast version.
Hey, brother, have you heard of a group called Rap de Luz?
Rap de Luz. I have not actually. And just real quick on the top 5, I just gotta shout out Nati Peluso real quick. Who she's, I don't know, Spanish and also from Buenos Aires. Like between those two, and she's fire, yo. She the last project Calambre that she dropped, crazy, absolutely.
I am half Argentinian. I'm a big Acru fan and Zaramay fan, Homer fan. Like, there's some good Argentinian hip hop out of Argentina right now.
Yeah, they coming up, bro. They coming up. Like, Latin America got some heat for sure.
But for him being 20 years old, he is on the front lines of dope hip hop right now in Canada.
Absolutely.
And then to spice it up, being part of the indigenous hip hop genre, that's even just makes it even better.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something that we're trying to solidify. Like, it's cool because you got hip hop culture, right? But then when it's coming from an artist that has culture, you know what I mean, and is implementing it in hip hop, is the other way around. So we're trying to create this community of indigenous artists that speak about whatever they speak about. There's no bias, there's no judgment, there's I mean, I know that reservation hip hop is different from Los Angeles hip hop, from conscious hip hop, from hip hop from across the country and even across the made up borders.
Right.
So, I mean, it's all coming together, and Armando and our goal is to put it on into one massive tianguis where you go there and you can buy a dope indigenous shirt like Indigenous 1492. You can hear Xiuhtezcatl's music. You can hear El Vuh music. You can hear the things that culminated into this great change that our ancestors prophesied a long time ago, with the mandate of Cuauhtémoc.
And man, it's been an honor for you to be, taking some time out of your day to be on our podcast, man. We're always going to remember this. This is a very important show.
Yeah, if we don't cross roads again, have a great career, brother. We really respect you. Thank you for taking the time.
Cross borders again, because that's gonna happen between Zero and you guys.
Oh man, I'm always down to do music and if people feel that my message is obviously they do feel my message is relevant, and let's make it. So it's really Xiuhtezcat's call, but I'm down, totally down.
Well, you know what? Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And you're killing it. Yeah, continue to do what you're doing.
Thank you. Just to clarify in the comments too, I'm not Lakota. Just so people know, my tribe, my people are Mexica Nation, south of imaginary border, Mexico, Tenochtitlan, Mexico City. Just so people know, we gotta represent. But thank y'all, Clase Comate, share your time, and we'll definitely connect again.
Mateo.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Xiuhtezcatl.
Wow, that was an amazing conversation.
Man, that dude is so articulate. That guy can really know. He's so confident in the interview. He's like, doesn't stumble.
It's like interviewing a 50-year-old guy that's been in the industry, not a 20-year-old.
Yeah, man, that guy has a lot of experience.
As you know, Zero, I run a major independent hip hop website, and I deal with a lot of 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
In the game.
Yeah.
And man, the way he conducts himself, it is on a whole different level. He's so evolved.
Yeah.
He's so, above his, but a lot more mature for.
Well, you said you saw him on CNN or something like that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I mean, those kind of interviews are nerve-wracking. I mean, when I went to Mexico City and we got on, remember, on Fox Sports, and it was like a press tour thing, and it's like when you have this big old studio and this famous.
Victor and Eric were super nervous. How is a 15-year-old kid not being nervous to get interviewed and something like that?
And for him to not, pander to the commercial scene, or to have labels tell him, "Hey, write a certain way," it just goes to show like the power is in his hand. The ball's on his court.
Well, I mean, he has tremendous success and a solid following, and obviously he made songs with very massively powerful people. I mean,
now, like how I asked him, like, was it off the cuff when he started making music? Was he all indigenous out? And he said, just like how you were making music. Now, a lot of indigenous hip hop artists started off making indigenous music.
Absolutely. Well, my whole career has been about that there's never been a sway in my art, and you pay the price for it sometimes.
So can you clarify his last statement? Like, hey, for all the people in the chat, I'm not so and so, but I'm
Mexica.
Yeah. So what did he mean about that?
So, well, obviously, Lakota are people from the I forgot what area they're from, but they're a certain type of indigenous group, right, or tribe or whatever. Usually they go by Dene. When you tell them Lakota, they're, oh no, I'm Dene, and then you get there and they're like little clans in there. So there's always a subject. But what he was trying to clarify is that he was of Mexica, which is the colonized, what they call Mexican, what they call Latino, but he's very clear that he is of Mexica.
He made it clear, and much respect.
Yeah, that's dope.
Because people were asking, in the live feed, like, hey, what tribe is he from? So he was just answering to the live feed and saying, hey, I'm not representing Lakota tribe, But I think he represented it perfectly fine when he first started, is that most people are always questioning, like, what tribe are you from? What tribe are you from? And we as LA natives always got that. What tribe are you from?
Absolutely.
Some of us don't need to be part of a tribe, like you said. This is heart medicine. This is medicine that has been gifted to him since he was 6 weeks old. It's beyond a tribe at this point. It's what's your intention for the next for the next 7 generations? I think that's a better question. Who do you represent? You know, and he represents the Mexica, Chicano, Chicana gente
Absolutely.
for the next 7
The raza,
generations.
yeah.
The raza, that was beautiful.
That's cool. To be taught by your dad and your grandfather, and to be somewhat familiar with the Nahuatl language. And you know, when I followed him back in the day when he did a speech at the UN, and I saw his name, I was like, oh man, there's another. I can't wait to hear his music. And then you hear his music, it's like, oh wow, it's indigenous, and it has indigenous, you know, undertones. And so it was cool to talk to him, man. He's a cool cat. And hopefully we wish him nothing but success. And hopefully the LA Natives community took grasps of the vast artists that are out there that are representing our community and people.
And by far, you know, for him to be interviewed on our podcast was exactly why we even created this podcast, to put
Absolutely.
people on like him.
Yeah, like him, like Xiuhtezcatl, like myself, like all indigenous individuals who said, I want to pivot to the left of the commercial lane. I want to be underground, which, you know, groups like, you know, oh God, what's Brother Jay, and back in the day, they did that. They went hip hop, but they went Egyptian culture. So, you know, us being like 15, 16-year-old kids, and we saw that, we're like, well, we could do that with native culture, right? And so that's what we started doing. And so now he's refining it, now making it an art, and working with some very, very powerful artists like Knuckle Bear. You know?
Yeah, and you know, he's like the modern day Immortal Technique for the indigenous scene. From
he's definitely on his way over there. I don't know if he's as politically charged as Technique, because Technique is really politically charged. His whole career is about that, you know. But
yeah.
And it doesn't seem like Xiuhtezcatl has a complete indigenous thing that he's doing with his music. It's more about his interpretations of life, and he happens to be a native of this culture, and he drops these little dimes in there.
I think he's taking storytelling to the next level.
Absolutely.
You know, I think he's taking our stories and our elder stories and putting these dope ass beats behind them, really hitting the youth with that trap beats and sharing our stories.
And the reggaeton beats, because he sounded like he was working with reggaeton stuff.
Yeah.
And even Cielo,
right
Cielo's kind of like it, when I heard it, I thought it was a love song, and he explained it very well. But he has his foot in that commercial door, and he has the potential. Why wouldn't you if you're on NBC and reaching millions and millions of people? And now when I heard Moments, and when I heard El Cielo, and I heard Runaway Tapes, see, like even the name Runaway Tapes, it doesn't have a strong indigenous name in it, right? But it's brought to you by an indigenous artist. So I mean, it was cool to talk to him and really expose our community to these great artists that are out there. These artists it takes a lot of bravery, like, you know, Itzkali Marie, Azomatli.
All these young kids reclaiming their names, like Gali too. You know?
And that was the prophecies of 2012. You know, they said the abuelos that we would reclaim ourselves, that we would one day innately just understand who we are, and that's our road, that's our path. And these artists that we're putting in front of you are the signs and the symbols to direct you to your mirror. It's your own mirror, really. You know, you can struggle and try to read every book and try to understand the greed of humanity, or the greed of Europeans, actually, or the greed of you know, the church state, you know, because they go after everything, and they covertly, you know, have their hands in everything. So to reclaim yourself as an indigenous artist, to do that kind of a message, and to really do it effectively, right, Armando?
Yeah, and if you like what you're hearing and watching, please support all of our socials. Go on our Facebook, like it, share that page, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. We're on YouTube.
Subscribe to our
and for
website.
Our returning visitors and loyal natives, how do you guys like the new look? We have a nice little, you know, overlay on the bottom. We're able to do side by sides now, and we're always progressing, right? We're always going to get better at what we're doing here at LA Natives, and I'm just really excited.
Absolutely. I mean, it's lining up really nice. This is our 7th show.
This is our 7th show.
Our 7th
And
show.
we have our merchandise up.
Yeah.
They're all
Website.
limited edition pieces,
Website.
you know.
We're trying to bring quality.
Sourced and printed in LA by hand.
Yeah.
Keep
So
that
what are
in
we
mind.
talking about when we're talking about merchandise? T-shirts.
T-shirts, you know, for example, let's go ahead and pull it up. LA Natives. And what we're going to do is split the screen real quick.
Thank you, Brando Tattoos. He's all like looking great, progressing in every show. Oh.
Right on, Brando. Hey, he's a dope ass tattoo artist. I think he's a tattoo artist. I think I remember him from Instagram. But yeah, man, that's what I love. The community.
Wow, look at those shirts.
LA Natives community. We have all kinds of art. It's not just music. It's tattooing. It's I'm sure there's other clothing designers out there. I'm sure there's so much things out there. Bring it to LA Natives. But to be a part of LA Natives, you must subscribe to our website. This is the type of community that we want to create. We want to create the one that's going to take the extra effort, the one that's going to go to the website, take the time, fill out that. We're not trying to market you, nonsense. We're trying to get you this clothing, food, remedy, whatever it is, medicine, message, way of life. I mean, all of that requires tight organization. So when you go to our website and you subscribe, it shows us the loyalty so that we can continue to produce things that are relevant to your life. I mean, I know when I rock that LA Native shirt, I'm going to be representing the community of people all across Anahuac, from the tip of Alaska to the tip of Chile. We LA Natives is the megaphone, is the camera, is the smartphone that you're going to get this information from.
Let's check out those shirts.
So yeah, they're really dope, Armando. You did a really good job with the logo. I like the shirts, and go ahead and go out there and start purchasing.
And the reason why we even decided to push merch because we had so many people asking for them.
Right.
That's not the intention, but the raising of money through these shirts will really help us do this better with the production and the overall message of this podcast.
Well, for what I know, we don't have any corporate sponsors. We don't have any donations. This is all done with the love of our heart, our time, our effort, our mistakes. We didn't start on time because we have technical difficulties. Mm-hmm. Whenever we get resources in from our community, it goes to someone that can handle that without, we're learning. This is like Armando told me, hey, I bought this equipment. I think I could get it to work. And to
answer your question, NJNP from YouTube, keep in mind, and isn't that cool? Our first episode that we're live on YouTube, we instantly get engagement.
Sweet.
So keep in mind, guys, we're on live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch Live.
Sweet.
He's asking for stickers and decals. Of course, we're working on that. It's going to be small phases: t-shirts, hats, stickers, sweaters, hoodies. But it's that logo, right, Zero? I think it was a home run.
Home run. What do you guys think? Home run? I mean, obviously on the IG, it was like fire, fire, fire. I want one. Where could I get one? Where can I get one? So I just want the community to know that any resources that come to LA Natives will be applied to accordingly, and know that we respect your hard work and your donation. Or when you buy a shirt, you're donating to this cause, and you're donating to us. But more than that, we need organization, because we want to put on those dope shows. We want to get, these artists that we're bringing together on this platform and put them together. And how are you going to find out about that show? How are you going to get the VIP ticket? How are you going to get the first tickets? The only ones that are going to know right away off the top of the bat is our website subscribers.
Yes, because we're completely avoiding social media. So when we do give our audience updates through our subscriber channel, it's instantly in their inbox about new merchandise, new episodes, upcoming guests, and so forth. And to answer your question, NJNP, I will go ahead and put a calendar on the website. Yes, that is very important. So we could let our audience know who are going to be showing up in the next few weeks.
Absolutely.
And then we have another question from Joaquin. Much respect, Zero and wife. Please get some unheard of youth on the show. who don't have the privilege to be supported by corporate news and the left-wing agenda.
Absolutely. I think
that's a given for us. Yeah.
That's what we've been doing. I mean, Azomali obviously is not as big as Taboo. And Taboo, I mean,
a little bit of inspiration for.
Yeah, no, it's something that we're trying to organize so that it comes off in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, we have to screen everyone. We have to make sure that everybody has the message that we're trying to convey as LA natives, right? And so it's a process, but there's been a ton of independent artists that have been hitting us up, right, Armando? And we're just organizing
a lot of them. And, you know, it is once a week.
Yeah.
But we are talking about doing a private Patreon page where we could give, you know, our audience the icing and the cake and the icing.
Well, on Patreon, there's no hold bar. I'm doing this website. I mean, I'm doing this podcast in a way that we're avoiding censorship, right? We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We got Twitch. The reason we use Twitch is because they can't censor us. If I say something, it won't be censored. But once we go on platforms like Facebook and it's almost like going on NBC or ABC, they're going to say some stuff. But if you want to get really in depth with the conversation, you want to really go down the rabbit hole, sign up to our Patreon.
Yes.
Our Patreon is going to offer, we're going to go no holds barred about sickness. We're going to go no holds barred about how to make yourself healthy during sickness. We're going to open up those Patreons and go as far as we can so that our people get the medicine that they need. If you support us, Xiuhtezcatl, you believe in our message, you believe in what we're doing, and all we're doing is putting our foot on this tierra and saying this is our homeland, no matter what imaginary borders are put on there. This is a woman that I need to respect, love, care for, protect, because she has our future generations. It's a different perspective. It's a perspective that's outside of white supremacy, patriarchy, and all out just evil. You know what I mean? When you tell people that they can't, I don't even want to go into it. Join our Patreon. I could go into it, but I'm gonna go into it on our Patreon.
Yes,
I kind of stopped myself.
It's gonna be some explosive content because there is a lot of medicine people need right now. You know, it just can't get it from the mainstream media right now on YouTube and Facebook, and
they're not gonna get it from them. They don't want them. This is not. Everybody goes, oh, the system's broken and the system's flawed. The system is designed perfectly to make white corporate monarchs, whatever you want to call them, a lot of money. This is not a broken system. This is a perfect system. They have dogs out there in the street hunting you down every day. Any little mistake you make, you're gone. Nothing has changed. But you have to take hold of who you are and where you come from. And you come from the sun and you come from the earth. So take responsibility in who you are and what you are, and move forward like our great abuelos did, who didn't let anything stop them from making this message come back to light. This is a prophecy of 500 years that we would understand who we are and we would reclaim who we are. With no apologies, with no proof, there's no need for it. I ain't gonna try to prove my case to a thief, a rapist, a pedophile. Come on. You want to go deep? We'll go deep. Join the Patreon. We'll go deep. We'll expose everything because we don't want to be censored. We're too smart for this thing. We know what our limitations are, right, Armando? We discuss very carefully what we're going to say and how we're going to say it. But if you want to go deep with us, come to the Patreon. We'll have the conversation there. And nothing's going to stop me there, right? I could go and say whatever I need to say. And all I'm going to say is the truth, the course of history. History is circular. It's not linear. It's circular. These things are repeating itself over and over again. We're being reconquest. There's another conquest happening now. They're just calling it something different. So when you hold on to your indigeneity, when you wear it, when you wear your LA natives, when you rock your chain, when you connect to this community, you're making a statement for the next 7 generations. You're making a statement for your child or your grandchild who hasn't been born yet. Enough is enough. We are who we are, survivors of genocide, indigenous descent. So I want to give stuff away. I want to give something away. And I want to give it away to the people that are on our live chat right now. This is outside of what we got. So I got a Zero El Vuh fully colored t-shirt. How can I give this away here? What would be a good idea? Someone tell me on the live chat what, I have to make this easy because I don't want to make it too hard. What the name in Nahuatl for the sun is. Can anybody answer that on the live chat?
Whoever's
You're going to get
to answer.
brand new shirt here.
We have a good 12 viewers, so I'm sure someone's going to want to answer that. And you're going to win this shirt. As soon as you answer it, we're going to ask you for your address. I'm going to go ahead and ship it out by Monday or Tuesday.
Sun called in Nahuatl language.
Here we go. NJNP, YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah.
You won.
Donatu?
Did he?
Donatu. Yeah.
Yep. He won. There you go. Oh, but don't fret. We have more gifts.
NJNP, make sure you email us at LANativespodcast@gmail. Just updating us about your winnings and potentially shooting us your address so I could go ahead and get that shipped out to you.
Yeah, so it's important that you DM us either on Instagram or email. Which would you prefer, email?
Email or DM us on Instagram, but email would be best because it's easier to track.
So we're gonna lay down the rules. I'm gonna give away a few more things if that's okay, Armando. Just really quickly.
So the Tonati shirt goes to NJ and
shout out to Marie and Joaquin and Brandon Tattoos and Lovato for all answering it correctly.
Yes,
absolutely.
You guys were like 2 seconds off.
Okay, so and look, feel free to cheat. Use your use your smartphone and get this guy. And don't be shy if you're wrong. Go ahead and answer.
You guys posted it 2 seconds away from each other. 1 second, yeah.
Okay,
like
yeah, it was like
off.
a race. But okay, so
next question.
Here's what I'm gonna do here. This is my unreleased mixtape. I have not released this mixtape. This is not on any Spotify.
So that's not just your any ordinary mixtape right there, right?
No, it's not. It's really unreleased music that has.
Zero has all these hidden gems everywhere in our garage.
So yeah, I'm gonna give away this mixtape to the next person. I'm gonna shoot it to Jenny. What should we do? What question? Give me a question.
Don't put me in that one.
Okay, here it is. Here we go. You guys ready? Are you guys ready? Show me. Anybody? Somebody say I'm ready. Do we got 12 people still?
Yeah, we have a good handful, a dozen.
So let me tell you about this mixtape. This mixtape really, it's called Tonal y Nahual, right? Your self energy and the energy outside of you, the great spirit, the great outside of you. Many people will define it in other ways, but I just define it as the great mystery. The first one to tell me what we call water in Nahuatl will email this mixtape out to you. And this is unreleased music. I mean, you can really search the web and find a little bit of this mixtape on there, but the whole thing as a project, you will not find because I have unreleased it. So.
All right. Now we're just waiting for the answer.
The answer, what is the name for water in Nahuatl?
Yep.
Who won?
Joaquin.
Joaquin, you are going to get an unreleased Zero El Vuh mixtape.
All right. Yeah. Joaquin put at.
Yeah. At is the right answer. So here we go. So now we're learning now. Now we're sharing some things. And with the 12 viewers that we got, it's cool.
And Joaquin, please tell your friends and family members about this channel because that's how this channel is going to grow. Just word of mouth, grassroots,
What do we call water now?
At. Okay.
Thank you, everybody that guessed it correct. You guys.
Joaquin, are you subscribed to our YouTube channel?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a Twitch comment here.
I got that CD.
I got
from
that.
you.
Yep, I got that CD from you on Hollywood and Highland.
That was a dope show.
Well, I'm telling you that CD, you can only get it from me. There's no other. There's no. You can't stream it. You can't find it on CD Baby. It's not.
Comes from him.
Comes from me. So that's like a private project. I am gonna put it on the platforms, but right now I just want to give it out. You know, if you buy a shirt, tell you what, if you buy a shirt or sweater, we're gonna throw in the CD. What do you think? The unreleased. Should we throw in the CD?
Of course.
For the shirt?
Limited edition.
Limited edition.
Yep.
Limited
because
edition.
you know who's gonna be able to, you know, not only provide you a dope shirt, an original shirt that's hand pressed, sourced here locally in Los Angeles, but have a CD. It's not no like QR code these rappers are doing nowadays. Hey, you know, I'm gonna send you a QR code for a download. No, you're gonna get a disc.
Yeah. So I go
potentially signed, right, Zero?
Oh yeah, definitely signed. If you
Definitely.
like, yeah, definitely signed.
That's some dope.
So
dope
I'm
art.
gonna give a big. The final gift that I got for LA Natives today is a catalog. My catalog right here. This is all my CDs that I've made in my history. Right.
Got the black and red ink, the Evolution,
black and red ink, and we have Jaguar Prophecies. Well, I'm signed on that. That one is signed. See, so we're gonna give away. And you know what? I'll throw in the mixtape too. I don't have an extra one, but I only brought one. But I'll throw in the mixtape. It'll be my entire catalog.
So what we're gonna do is for any T-shirt purchase in the next week, we'll go ahead and include a CD.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I think all of us are like, wow.
We're gonna
and trust me, guys, for everyone paying attention and tuning in, if you haven't checked out these projects yet, man, you got something coming for you guys. It changed my life when I was, 18, 19 years old. Like those projects he has in his hands, like I was bumping, that on repeat for weeks at a time.
Jaguar Prophecies.
Joaquin put send me a sweatshirt too, and I will
Coming
send
soon.
you our new Native Youth Snag magazine with CD compilations.
Yes.
Sure. Email our producer for sure.
Absolutely.
Tracks 3 and 7 are fire. Speak a little bit about the track 3 and 7, Zero.
Which one is that?
Are you talking about Ruben's Tonali Nawal CD? Pretty sure.
Before I go to that, I do want to give away this catalog, and I'm trying to think of a good way to do it. I want you to tell me the name of this landmass. What did our ancestors call it? What did the Mexica call this landmass? And we're going to get the catalog. You're going to get the whole catalog. This is the final for today.
You're going to give that away right now.
Right now, all three of them. Wow. If they could tell me the original Mexica name of this land.
What land are we in?
Turtle Island's a good one, but I can't accept that one. I want the Nahuatl.
Good try, Joaquin. Joaquin's trying
you
to
got it.
everything.
Somebody got it, I think.
No.
Joaquin?
No.
No?
Joaquin also put Aslan.
What about that one? Oh, no. Oh, okay.
Turtle Island, the same
close,
thing.
Close. Aslan.
There we go.
Who won?
Okochi was at Okochi 25, Anahuac.
Anahuac.
We are on Turtle Island.
Let's make sure
Anahuac.
Let's make sure we keep all this on track, so we gave away.
Ruben just out of nowhere just.
We gotta give away things to people.
We gave away the El Vuh shirt.
Yes.
To NJNP.
Yes.
Make sure you email us NJNP or DM us on LA Natives Podcast on Instagram, please. This does. I could go ahead and put it in the mail for you.
We replay it too, so we.
And then Joaquin won the CD.
Joaquin, DM us or email us and send us your address as well for the CD. And then for
Okochi 25,
she got the whole bundle.
She got the whole bundle.
The whole thing. And a few of these CDs are signed, and we're going to send these out to you. We love you, community. We thank you for participating. Please tell all the relatives to sign up to our website, sign up to our social media platforms, follow us every Sunday at 4 p.m. This is LA Natives. This is the community that will bring back truth to our people. This is the community that will respect women. This is the community that will respect the fire, water, air, and earth. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Search deep into your heart and know that this is not an impossible task. That we are survivors of genocide. We've survived the worst already. It's time to bring our medicine and our truth to light. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Sunday. You want to say goodbye, Mondo?
Yes, Quentin Kondo next Sunday.
Quentin Kondo. Dope.
It's going to be a good show.
Dope. JB.
Xiuhtezcatl, everybody. Thank you from all 4 directions, everybody that has tuned in from all 6 directions, actually. We really appreciate you from our family to yours. Xiuhtezcatl.
Meteo. Donansi. Donatu.
LA Natives.
LA Natives.